To start with your comments from the exercise. What's your experience? Yes, Diane.
One of the benefits that I got that I hadn't expected was he asked the question, and then we got to go outside. And so I actually, during that time, the mulch time, I call it.
The mulch time, I like that.
I got a lot more out of it than I would have if we would have been in a process of just continuing to ask questions, because I spent time with the original question, which was an excellent one to begin with.
Great, excellent. So by the way, this points out that this is an exercise that you can actually do with friends or people that you work with who really want to change, because it's to their benefit as well for them to be sitting there and mulching while you're sitting there and writing on the paper. When I was first doing this stuff, I just explained to them that this is how it worked, that I was going to ask them a question, they were going to answer, and then they would just wait for a little while I was working things out on paper. And so it works that way.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Okay.
So.
What's that? Pleasantly surprised. Great. All right. Other experiences and learnings that you got from the exercise?
We discovered the first question that we asked Mike took him into a trance, and so he couldn't really answer it.
Ah.
So we had to, that was useful information.
Anybody else ask a question that the person couldn't quite come up with an answer to? So, and that.
We were pacing aspects of him that we were guessing at. It's about movement and destination. And what we didn't pace, what we hadn't paced accurately, we realized was destination was just like too big.
Aha.
So, the point you made before about a little better, chunked down.
Chunked it down then on the second question. The great thing is that after you ask the first question, you'll get some information back, whether it's what you wanted to get or not. You'll get feedback for how well your question worked at the very least. And so you'll get something that you can utilize to create your next question. And so excellent. All right. Other experiences, learnings?
Well, I know it does make a difference just how when we do ask the question, how you ask it.
How you ask the question makes a big difference. Did you discover that? Great. So I'm curious, in your groups, did you have the experience of asking the question and then asking it again and just kind of paying more attention to your delivery as you ask it? Anybody do that in your groups? Great. Great. Okay. Other learnings that you got? Is it
really phrase the question, or let's say I never asked myself what do I actually want out of the question before. I just normally ask it, and actually having that as a guidance, I think that made a big difference as to how you actually delivered it. That made a big difference.
Great. How many of you find that to be the case as well? That having the frame of what do I want out of this question? Now, obviously, when you're working with somebody in a quite normal context or communicating in a normal context, you wouldn't be saying, okay, now you just wait and I'll write things down. And typically in our conversations, we don't do that. And yet, having taken some time to really slow it down and really examine everything that's presupposed, everything that, to use our flashlight metaphor, everything that was in the dark before, now you've illuminated for yourself in terms of your own understanding of the language that you're using. So I'm curious how you will enjoy the experience of allowing this new understanding of presuppositions to happen unconsciously in the future also. Okay, because it's not just, of course, about conscious learning, thank goodness. Thank goodness we don't have to do all the work around here, do we? And so just kind of let your unconscious now mull around, just like Diane was saying, she let her mind mull over that question for a few minutes while she was sitting and waiting for the next one. You can just allow your unconscious to do that with all the learnings that you got from this exercise this evening when you are thinking, fortunately, about other things. Again, I really encourage you to do something this evening that's a major break from this material. I think you've noticed probably intensive language study can be a bit taxing on the gray matter. Anybody notice this? That we really are doing very intensive work, and it's different than a lot of your NLP in that it's not scripted ahead of time for the most part. You're coming up with your own script, and so it's in that way also more of a, it's challenging in a different way than most things are. And so really giving yourself some chance, some opportunity this evening to mellow out and relax and let yourself go nonverbal would be highly recommended. Okay. So, some announcements.